The pen trembled in her fingers as laughter echoed through the ballroom. Crystal chandeliers glittered above silk dresses and tailored suits, but Elena Carter felt none of the warmth of the Christmas party. Her tears blurred the ink as she signed her name on the divorce papers balanced against a silver tray meant for champagne flutes. Music swelled, glasses clinked, someone toasted to love and new beginnings. No one noticed the woman quietly breaking apart in the corner. And no one knew that the woman crying over a divorce was the wife of one of the richest men in the world. Elena had learned long ago how to disappear in plain sight. She wore a simple emerald dress that night, elegant but modest compared to the diamonds around her. Her hair was pinned neatly, her makeup soft, hiding the sleepless nights. To the guests, she was just another guest, maybe a distant relative, maybe a +1. To her husband's lawyers standing nearby, she was a signature to be collected before the holidays. To herself, she was a woman who had once believed love was enough. She had met Victor Hale 12 years earlier, long before the magazines called him a billionaire visionary. Back then, he was brilliant and driven, working out of cramped offices and sleeping on couches. Elena had been a school counselor with a gentle voice and an unshakable belief in people. She believed in Victor when investors laughed at him, when deals fell through, when failure loomed like a shadow. She brought him coffee at midnight, listened to his fears, reminded him to eat. They married quietly, promising to build a life together, not a fortune. Success came fast and loud. Victor's company exploded into the global market, and suddenly their quiet dinners turned into gala invitations. Elena tried to keep up, but the world she loved was replaced with one that valued appearances over sincerity. Victor changed in ways he did not notice. Meetings replaced conversations. Assistants replaced intimacy. Elena found herself alone in rooms full of people, applauding a man who no longer heard her voice. The first challenge crept in quietly. Victor began making decisions without her. Where they lived, who they entertained, when they traveled. Elena told herself it was temporary, that pressure made people distant. She tried harder, smiled wider, waited patiently. But patience does not heal neglect. Nights passed with Victor returning home after she was already asleep, or not returning at all. When she spoke up, he told her she did not understand the weight he carried. The second challenge cut deeper. Rumors surfaced. Headlines whispered about Victor and a glamorous executive always at his side. Elena asked him directly, her heart pounding with hope that he would deny it. He did not. He said it meant nothing, that she was overreacting, that powerful men lived differently. In that moment, Elena realized her pain was an inconvenience to him. She suggested counseling. He dismissed it. She asked for time together. He promised later. Later never came. The house grew colder, not from winter, but from absence. Elena began questioning her worth, wondering how the woman who once inspired a dreamer had become invisible to a tycoon. The divorce was Victor's idea, delivered casually over breakfast as if he were discussing a schedule change. He said it would be generous, discreet, easy. Elena felt as if the ground had vanished beneath her feet. She did not fight, not because she did not care, but because she was exhausted from being the only one trying. The Christmas party was supposed to be a final public appearance, a show of unity before the announcement. Victor did not attend. He sent his lawyers instead. Elena stood among strangers celebrating joy while her marriage officially ended. As she signed the papers, a single tear dropped onto the page, smudging the ink. The lawyer cleared his throat, impatient. Elena handed back the pen, her hands steady now, as if something inside her had finally settled. She left the party early, stepping into the cold night air. Snow fell softly, and for the first time in years, Elena felt the quiet wrap around her like a blanket. The marriage was over, but so was the constant ache of hoping for change that would never come. What the world did not know was that Elena was not walking away empty-handed. Years earlier, when Victor's empire was just an idea, she had invested her own savings into a separate venture, a small education technology startup she believed in. While Victor chased markets, Elena quietly built something meaningful. That company had grown steadily, unnoticed by the media obsessed with Victor's success. By the time the divorce papers were signed, Elena's shares were worth billions. The third challenge came after the divorce. Freedom was unfamiliar. Elena faced loneliness, public scrutiny, and the fear of stepping into a life defined by her own choices. Headlines painted her as the discarded ex-wife. Friends drifted away, unsure where they stood. Victor moved on quickly, his image intact. Instead of retreating, Elena chose purpose. She stepped into leadership at her company, expanding programs that brought education to underserved communities. She spoke at schools, funded scholarships, built centers where children felt seen and supported. Slowly, her name began appearing in a different kind of news. Not gossip columns, but impact reports. Not red carpets, but classrooms. The final challenge was forgiveness. Elena carried anger for a long time, anger at Victor, at herself, at the years she felt wasted. One winter evening, she realized the anger was the last tie binding her to a past that no longer defined her. She let it go, not to excuse the hurt, but to free herself from it. Years later, at another Christmas event, Elena stood on a modest stage in a community center, watching children perform a play they had written themselves. Their laughter filled the room, genuine and bright. She smiled, not because life had been perfect, but because it was honest. Victor watched her once from across a crowded room at a charity summit, surprised to see the quiet woman he had underestimated commanding respect with grace. She nodded politely and walked on, no bitterness in her step. Elena's story was never about losing a marriage. It was about finding herself when the world tried to define her by someone else's success. It was about discovering that strength does not always roar. Sometimes it signs papers through tears, walks into the cold, and builds a future no one saw coming. The lesson she carried forward was simple and powerful. Your value is not measured by who stays, but by who you become when they leave. And sometimes, the quietest endings make room for the most extraordinary beginnings.